Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show presented by our friends at Sunnyside. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus for Illinois Med Card holders. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jay Zawaski. Greg Boysen, Mario Tirabassi.
Hello.
Law is here as well. The Hawks lose 2-0 in Detroit to the Red Wings. That was really boring.
Yeah.
That was a boring-ass hockey game and a bad broadcast and the whole 9.
Yeah, not a pleasurable viewing experience whatsoever, but thus is the preseason sometimes. Good thing we only have to go through 6 of these. The Red Wings have to go through 8 of them.
That is insane. That's too many.
8
Not
preseason
only do they have
games
6 more preseason games,
to go.
they are playing 7 games in 8 days.
Seems like a smart thing to do.
This was the
ahead
first
of a
this was
hockey season.
Their first of 4 in a row. Then they take a day off and they play 3 in a row.
So dumb.
Jesus.
I don't even care about the players because they're gonna keep a huge amount of players in camp. Imagine us having to do 7 pregame, postgame shows in 8 days of preseason hockey.
No thanks.
No,
Nope, I am good.
I think we would do it differently.
And we were all really excited for the preseason to start.
Mhm.
And now we're
I
really
can't
ready
wait
for
for
off
it.
season to end.
I was excited for the preseason to start, and
I'm
when
so ready for the Winter Classic.
when the puck dropped Wednesday night, the open the preseason, I was like, all right, let's skip to the regular season. I'm
skip
already
the-
done with this.
I want sim to regular season like NHL 24.
Yeesh. Holly, awake till 2:30 a.m. to watch
You
that.
are
Hey.
a trooper.
Why are you?
You know
Why
what?
though?
Let's just
2:30
give
a.m.
Holly
bed.
the 4-star of the game
Yeah,
right now.
seriously.
Really?
Holly.
Really?
You
I gotta
are
put that in.
you are a trooper.
Hey, show Holly some love and smash that like button on her behalf.
That's more
Mhm.
impressive than anything we saw on the
Yeah.
ice tonight. Way
For
to
every
go,
like,
Holly.
she gets an extra minute of sleep. So
Nice.
hammer that like button for Holly. If you'd like the Hawks to score a goal soon, hit the like button for us as well. We'd appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page as well and turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. Because guess what? We're doing this again tomorrow night.
Hooray.
It's going to be fun. We're going to tell you about our 4-star of the game coming up later. We're going to reveal who's your Hawk, all that. But let's get into the game here real quick. Hawks lose 2-0, as we said. First goal came from the Red Wings, 4:10 into the second period. Christian Fischer, who we learned was from Chicago,
Sure.
assisted by Andrew Kopp and Moritz Seider. He was just right on the doorstep and poked it under the pad of Arvid Soderblom. Then later in the second, 12:32 in, Vladimir Tarasenko as a 5-on-3 is basically expiring. He's all alone. He doesn't miss even at this age when he's all alone. And it was 2-0, and that was all she wrote. So let's get into the main things here. And what we've been doing, well, through one preseason game anyway, is kind of starting with the positives. And let's try to do that as much as we can.
Okay.
Arvid Soderblom was good in this game. I don't think there's much question about it. He was peppered. The Red Wings had 31 shots on goal. He only let 2 in, one of which was on a 5-on-3. I thought he played really, really well. Looked confident, looked strong. Made a nice post-to-post save in the first period.
Yeah.
He looked better.
Stopped Amadeus Lombardi
Great
Hell
name.
yeah.
with a pad save.
Yeah.
On a breakaway.
Amadeus
that was
Lombardi.
nice.
That's a good name.
That's an insanely good
Yes.
name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
His mother loved classical music and his father loved football.
Yeah. No, I think his dad was
Vince Lombardi.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
We can neither confirm nor deny that story.
We all know Vince Lombardi loved him some Mozart.
I think, as we've talked about, and I know Luke sort of said this too the other day, talking about Soderblom, it's hard to find it in the middle of the season. If you're having a bad year, it's just kind of couldn't kind of continue until the year ends.
Yeah.
And they got to the point where they really couldn't play him because it was an automatic loss. So, look, I don't want to make too much of this, but you basically had Rockford versus
Mostly Detroit.
most of the Red Wings. They didn't have Larkin, Kane, or DeBrincat, which are big pieces.
They had a NHL line out there.
Yeah.
It was basically Griffins versus Ice Hogs with
Craig Smith.
line and a half of NHLers.
Yeah. Well, Tarasenko, Kopp was out there, Raymond was out there, so
Northbrook's own
Sider
JT
was out
Compher,
there. So it wasn't awful, but it just,
Tam Calvert.
this was definitely the Rockford Ice
Calvert.
Hogs.
Yeah, I think this is a game where you don't necessarily focus too much on the team result, more or less just individual performances, because some of these guys like Zach Sanford is going to be on the Ice Hogs.
Yeah.
Nick Lardis is going back to the OHL. AJ Spellecy is going back to the OHL. Like, these are not guys that you're like focusing on, like, what is their position with the Blackhawks? Like, we know what it is for this season.
Yeah.
So it's more or less about their individual performances. And I would say Soderblom, which a lot of people do not like him, and I get it. He's had a rough go of it his 2 seasons in Chicago, and you went out, the Blackhawks did, and went and got Laurent Brossoit because of how Soderblom has played. But coming into this season and with the injury to Brossoit to start, Soderblom's out there to try and get a couple NHL game checks before likely heading to Rockford, and he's going to be battling Drew Comezzo for that backup spot. So he's got to go out and put in good performances to solidify himself to try to do it as being the number 3 goaltender in the depth chart. And this was a good performance. I mean, he got peppered with a lot of shots, and like you said, Jay, like, he had some pretty impressive saves, and we know he's not going to stop them all. So I would say, like, he had a performance that was relatively positive, given the lineups out there.
Yeah, and Luke Richardson talked about Arvid today, saying that, like, his confidence just got shot last year, and when you're in the NHL, you just can't get your confidence back by going out there and playing. He says, especially when he's playing in front of a depleted team who quote, we got slight on the back end for a little bit there. That was sugarcoating.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's
the opposite of firm.
That's a former defenseman saying we sucked playing defense.
Yeah.
So, he basically said a goalie can't. It's hard for a goalie to get his confidence back when things are going bad in the while the games are going on. So this is a good start for him. Made 29 saves. It wasn't spectacular, but made the saves he needed to make. You can't really
and 1 or 2 that were
right. That last year he probably doesn't.
Yeah.
So anything to get in between his ears, that was his biggest enemy by mid-season last year was himself.
Yeah.
Except when he played the Maple Leafs, and anything to him to get positive. Like, he came in. Luke Richardson said that he came in with a great attitude, came in great, in great shape. It's a little awkward for him to be like, "Hey, I'm going to the Ice Hogs. I'm going back to the AHL. You accept that. And now you're like, oh, I guess I am good enough to be here now for a few weeks."
Yeah.
But listen, if you get that type of performance out of him, if he has to start one of those first 4 road games, if he goes on a trip, he's starting either Winnipeg or Edmonton, probably Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And you get that performance out of him, that's what you will live with your backup goalie.
It's good enough to stay competitive.
Yeah, and he kept them in the game. Just there was no offense, barely any chances where we even got excited that there might be a goal scored. So good start for Soderblom. Happy to see it. I don't know if I'm ever going to tweet out that Arvid Soderblom is playing again. Like, the just irrational hatred.
Yeah, I mean,
that people, why is he playing? He should never be in the. It's the freaking preseason, people. This is when you play guys like him.
Also,
relax
let these guys find it. He's 25.
he was
25 for a goalie is 22 for a forward.
he was bad last
Young,
season.
yeah.
Really bad last season. But you know what? You sign him to a 2-year contract. Let him see if he can be good again, and if not, you move on.
I say that's a good thing. Welcome to an organization having expectations.
Right.
Like I know it's we have to sometimes remind people it is preseason. They have 6 goalies and 6 games. All the goalies are going to play.
Yeah.
But it's fun to be, being a team that actually the fan base is like, we have expectations this year. We have, it's no longer just like, hey, we're happy to have these random players that are kind of fun to be around, even if they're not winning hockey games. Like, we all loved Mackenzie Entwistle, but I'd say this team has improved beyond him. No offense to Mackenzie, like he's an awesome guy, but like the team is improving beyond just like having players that you like. You got to have some expectations, and again, yes, I agree. It is the preseason. It'll be fine. Half of these guys are not going to be in Chicago all season, so it'll whittle down by Monday to a more NHL like roster. But it's fun to being bummed with preseason losses because you're like expecting more. That's a good thing.
I'm okay with that, but like just screaming at me because I'm reporting that Arvid Soderblom is playing, I could live without that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, why did you put him in the lineup, Greg?
I'm sorry. I told Luke to play him all 16 tonight. My bad, kids.
Yeah.
I just think too, like this goes very far in sports where people just dig in on athletes. Like, I have decided this guy sucks. I will not adjust my opinion regardless of evidence. Look, if Arvid Soderblom plays even as well as he did in his first year, which wasn't great when you look at the numbers, but that team was awful too. Trying to lose for Connor Bedard, but he was all right. Most nights you're like, okay, he's going to give you as much of a chance as anybody else is this night to win on the roster.
Sure.
On the team at that time.
Yeah. Because that was bad Peter Mrazek.
Yeah, like year. It's just goalies take time, and if he ends up being good, that's not something you should be upset about. And if he has a good performance, you shouldn't be upset about it. And BJD says it too. It's like the Seth Jones thing. It's like, no, I don't care what evidence I have from the Seth Jones isn't terrible. I said he's terrible, and he's terrible. Okay.
And we're going to probably see that if a guy I'm sure we're going to touch on later, Lucas Reichel, ever starts.
Yeah. Well, let's get through the good first before we get to the bad.
But if Lucas Reichel ever figures it out and starts playing good, people will still say, no, he still sucks.
No,
Would it surprise you to learn that at all strengths in this game, the scoring chances were even at 24 apiece?
If you say so.
That's what
I was too busy dancing to
natural
generic black keys during the first period to pay attention.
That's what natural stat trick has.
Well,
even at 5-on-5 and even at all.
It was a boring game both ways. Like, Detroit was the better of the two teams. The 5-on-3 played a role in that for sure, but like, and they had possession longer and more zone time, but they weren't really doing much with it.
Yeah, it may, when you have a roster that is just, player for player better, you're going to control more of the game. And I'd say the Blackhawks' chances outside of the what was it, Spellacy, Slaggert, Craig Smith chance towards the end of the game. Other than that, it was a lot of kind of one and done scoring chances. It didn't really have like a lot of sustained zone time, and that's going to be expected in a preseason scenario where you have a lot of young guys playing and this is still a team that is trying to learn each other, especially the NHL players. There's a lot of new faces here that are going to have to, learn how to play with each other, find some chemistry, find some rhythm. We've all thought about these lines. We did it all summer. Like, what are the lines? What are they going to be? What are the groups, pairings, and all that stuff? They got to figure it out, and they're gonna work. Richardson's gonna work some different combinations and try and figure things out by the time the games matter. So you're going to have games like this where it still just kind of feels a little, you're still piecemealing things.
Yeah. All right, we're going to try to find a couple more positives after we hit the break zone here. Please hit that like button for us if you haven't already.
Digging the cushions.
Yep, and make sure you're subscribed. Again, every like gives Holly an extra minute of sleep, and she needs it. So hit that like button for us. We'd appreciate that. And we'll be right back on CHGO Blackhawks.
And hey, when the games do matter, you can put some money on them with our friends at Circa Sportsbook. Whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. You can also bet the NHL on them too. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Some of the best I've heard. You can bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season with spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it all. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And it certainly felt like autumn today, but no matter what the temperature is outside, the sun does come out quite often, and you
Sure
will
does.
need.
And it sets.
It does too. Beautiful sunset today in the greatest city in the world.
Right.
Our friends at Shady Rays, they will have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank for all those sunny days ahead. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection on all of eyewear, every pair backed by lost or broken replacements. If you don't love your shades, exchange for a brand new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There is zero risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com, use the promo code CHGO, and you're getting 35% off polarized sunglasses. So you can finally try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 very happy customers.
Nice.
All right. That is, we got a super chat here from KR Shy Sports. Says, oh, let me turn on the Hawks game. The Hawks game. And he's got generic music emojis on there. So thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that.
Let's clarify that was a Red Wings issue.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Detroit sucks.
Indeed, they do. All right, 3 stars of the game in this one: Andrew Kopp, Christian Fischer, and Vladimir Tarasenko. That's 3, 2, 1. So here are your 4-star candidates for your Chicago Blackhawks. Number 1 on the list, Colton Dach. He had 2 shots, 2 missed shots, 2 block shots, 5 hits,
nice,
and 2 takeaways. So an active game for Colton Dach. Frank Nazar was a -1, had 5 shots on goal, 6 shot attempts. Pretty solid game for him. He did win 2 and lose 7 faceoffs, so that's not great. And then the other star of the game was Arvid Soderblom, who stopped 29 of 31 Detroit shots. So get your votes in now, and we'll reveal the winner at the end of the show. So that leads us to kind of the other positives of the game. Colton Dach talked about it early in camp, that he needs to be physical, he needs to be engaged. Anders Sorensen said the same thing about him, saying, we need him to be consistently interested and engaged and consistent and physical.
Yeah.
And he was that tonight. He was very noticeable physically, got some pucks to the net too when a lot of the team was not. I thought he had a pretty solid game.
Yeah, I've had a chance to talk to him twice now during Tom Curvers and during training camp, and just he's gotten the message about how to get into the NHL lineup and stay there. And one of those things that he's going to need to do is ramp up his physical play. And through juniors and his first year in Rockford, he was a physical guy, bigger than most of his peers that he was playing against. And then also had a, higher, upper tier level of skill where he was, putting up pretty decent points, pretty decent production. Gets into Rockford. Now he's playing against grown men for the most part in that league. And when he was on the ice, he was pretty effective, and we saw that, physicality and that edge that he plays with come out. But playing that way will also lend you to some injuries. So that's why he was, on and off the ice, and that can lead to some consistency issues. But so far through the Tom Curver showcase and the first 2 preseason games and in camp too, in the scrimmages, you can see the level of physicality in his game has stepped up. And, I wonder with him if it's trying to find that balance of, okay, they want me to be more physical, so I'm going to go out and try and impose more, but trying to find that balance where that doesn't take away from the skill set he has and being effective offensively, because he is that kind of guy. He is that guy that can play around the net and score goals and has a good sense with the puck. But I just wonder how, as a young player, he balances that moving forward, because I'd say it'd be a little bit of a shame if all Colton Dach did was become just a physical guy. And if that's a path to the NHL, that's fine. But I think there's a little bit more skill there. And I wonder how he, balances that to get to the next level.
You know who I'd like to see him hang out with? Craig Smith.
Yeah.
That's a guy who has scored, 20 goals 5 times in his career,
Mm-hmm.
plays a hard-nosed, he's not Tom Wilson trying to kill you every time you get the puck, but he's physical when it calls for it.
Yeah.
He doesn't lay off a check, but he's a fierce defender and's got a little bit of a scoring touch. That's the kind of guy that Colton Dach could emulate and take some lessons from. Like, I'm sure, I haven't checked Craig Smith's lower level numbers. I'm sure he put up big numbers when he was not in the NHL and came here and found a way to be a consistent contributor on always pretty good teams, Dallas and some decent Nashville teams too. Like, that's a guy who every good team needs, a guy like Craig Smith, and Colton Dach can look at the skill set, because he's not a plug out there. Craig Smith can get some things done. He's got some skill. That might be a good guy for Colton Dach to bounce some thoughts after, or kind of model himself after in these remaining practices they have together.
Other than Craig Smith's illustrious career at the University of Wisconsin,
never mind.
He
Trade him.
He only has played 12 games outside of the NHL. 8 of them were in Finland during the shortened 2013 season, and 4 games that same season with the Milwaukee Admirals. Otherwise, 928 NHL games.
That's pretty good.
And yeah, like you said, like he was with Nashville for a long time, had some productive years. I mean, he's never been a top 6 guy. He's always been in that like third line, bottom 6 role. But I think that is someone who Colton Dach could learn a lot from.
Career high 51 points in 2017-18. But
he's doubling that this year.
I'm sorry, if he had 52 in 2013-14, my bad.
Doubling it.
But still, 44, 37, 29, 38, 31, 32. Like, these are the sort of numbers that if Colton Dach becomes an NHL player, you could probably project those to him.
That'd be very nice.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
You know who else Colton Dach could model his game after?
Kirby Dach.
No.
AJ Spelcy.
We all could.
The team captain, Nick Foligno.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Nick Foligno is a guy that's never been the most talented guy on his team, but goes to the dirty areas of the ice, not afraid to get physical, can pot some goals. That could be your comparison there. Like, I know Foligno, been in the league forever, not the most physical guy in the world, but picks his spots, knows when to do it. You look at Foligno, he's got multiple seasons of 150, 170, 190 hits. And
it's a lot of hits.
Can score. I mean, he has 130-goal season, but a typical Foligno season is like 17 goals, 40 points.
Sounds great.
It's pretty much what
Very
he did
similar.
last year.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean,
Craig Smith, very similar.
So, yeah, I think those are guys that he could definitely emulate. Like, you don't go out there and just try to be a complete, like, bruiser and,
just a wrecking ball.
enforcer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
He can
it's
be
almost
more than
like
that.
Pick
like
your spots. There's
like
a time to
Sorensen
be
was
physical and a time to
Yeah.
be skillful.
And I
You could
think
be
what
both.
Sorensen was saying was like, be engaged in the game.
Yeah.
Not so much like you have to consistently go out there and wreck people all the time, because Dach has too much skill to be a player like that. You know what I mean? Like,
would say so,
especially on the Rockford level. He's going to be a top 6. He's going to be one of their
Yeah.
top scorers. Like, but it's just make sure that, much like Nick Foligno and Craig Smith, that 82 times a year what you're getting from those guys.
Yeah.
And the numbers might fluctuate in terms of production, but for 15 to 18 minutes a night, from those two guys, you're going to get maximum effort, maximum hustle. Every check will be finished, and you don't have to worry about the effort or engagement from those guys. Right. That's what Colton Dach needs to find.
Yeah. What did Sorensen say? He needs to play with emotion, but not emotional.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Don't let the emotions go across the line.
All right, let's get to Frank Nazar too, the other candidate for our 4-star of the game. We saw a lot of good from Nazar today. Again, 5 shots on goal, 6 shot attempts.
Better game.
We did see, though, some of the bad habits of I'm going to back my way into the slot and then pass it to no one or try to throw a blind pass across the ice. He will learn these lessons. Connor Bedard learned them last year and is still seemingly learning them a little bit. Yeah. The cross-check was idiotic. I don't know what he was thinking there.
Yeah, that's the emotion getting the best.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, that was bizarre. Whatever that was
smart.
I don't know. But other than that, you saw him offensively engaged, getting scoring chances. His best scoring chance came after some weird Red Wings scoreboard feature, so it was kind of cut off. But he got a nice chance in the slot and put a backhander on. Yeah. And it was denied, obviously, by Tam Calbert. But I think he was much better in this game than last. That's for sure.
Yeah, he was better, more noticeable in a good way. But again, like we said Wednesday night, there's guys that are gonna have to have some growing pains at the professional level, and Nazar jumped into the final 3 games of the season last year, riding off of a very successful year at Michigan, very successful year with USA Hockey, and he was he was in a peak of his performance. And was coming into a Blackhawks team that was towards the end of the death march of last season. So he came in and played really well. So now this year it's just he's kind of got to ramp up with the team. So it's a different experience. But I think a better performance tonight than he had on Wednesday. He's gonna. I would put money that he is going to survive the first round of cuts. But I still feel as we were kind of talking about coming into this training camp and preseason, he's going to have to blow you away to make this roster. And so far, still not at that level.
No. I think we're looking at starting the season in Rockford is more than just a probability at this point.
Yeah.
He's still going to play, they got 4 more games. I bet you he plays at least 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. He's going to be given the chance to make the team. But I just think, Rockford is the way to go. And, with these young guys, Korchinski too. Korchinski's looked okay these first 2 games.
Should get into him next.
But, there's still a lot of things that need to get worked on here. And, succeeding at the AHL for a young player with not a lot of experience is a lot better than consistently failing at the NHL or not. I don't want to say consistently failing because that's not fair, but not taking that giant leap you're hoping to take, not being the dominant player you were drafted to be on a nightly basis can start to really affect a player's mental state. And we've seen it so many times with young players, especially. They lose that confidence. It's, Lucas Reichel, it's Kirby Dach. They just, sometimes a player's worst enemy, especially young players, are themselves. So some time in Rockford for Nazar, probably for Kaczynski, it's a good thing. It's not a declaration that these guys were a waste of a draft pick. They need some more time. The Blackhawks have nothing but time on their hands to get this right.
Well, look at a team like Dallas, right, where they've come up as more of a model of how to push prospects along, and they're a team that's not rebuilding. They're in the middle of a contention window. Mm-hmm. But you look at guys like Maverick Bourque and Thomas Harley and Logan Stankoven, all have spent at least a full season or 2 in the AHL as young players And those guys are going to step into a Dallas team and contribute this year. Yeah. And Harley's already a part of their future now. So
yeah,
it'll take some time. So with Korchinski, if he goes to Rockford, it's fine. If Nazar goes to Rockford, it's fine. They're not trying to win the cup this year.
Yeah. All right, we got to hit the break zone. Do us a favor and smash that like button if you haven't already. We're almost at 100 likes, and I know there's a lot more than that watching, so please hit that button for us. We'd appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed if you get the chance. And forgot to mention this earlier, if you're a podcast listener, make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite app and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Back in a moment with some Kevin Korchinski and more on CHGO Blackhawks. But first, between work, social media, and boring preseason games, it's no wonder we're more worked up than ever.
Generic music.
Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn a boring preseason loss into an amazing postgame show? That's what we did.
Hey, it's only 9 o'clock on a Friday. Let's get weird.
That's right. Make the choice to choose chill. Then reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. You may have heard that before. We love it. It is what we turn to when we want to choose chill or just want a damn good beer. When those mountains turn blue, your Coors Light is as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most out of the times that you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, that sounds mountain cold, baby.
Make sure you get it all in the glass because you don't want to spill anything on your floors. And need new carpeting from our friends at Empire Today. Yes, with Empire Today, you get to shop at home convenience. You get the right product for your needs, and you get quick and professional installation and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, or speed, so competitors will advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices, because anyone who is doing that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in their own. Bums. The cool thing about Empire Today is that they have the virtual floor designer. So when you're sitting back in your couch, choosing chill, it's a great way to just choose your next floor. All you got to do is snap a picture of the room you're looking to get a new floor in and instantly see new floors that and see how they will look in your room. Don't even have to get off the couch. It's awesome. And they service their own warranties. So if you have an issue with your flooring, just call Empire and they service all the warranties themselves. You won't have to track down any manufacturer's phone numbers. You just got to go back to Empire. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. And when you do that, all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when you use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for details.
All right.
Nice.
We got an update on the 4-star. How's that going, Law?
Arvid Soderblom. What the hell was the guy calling him?
I don't know.
Arvid is called Soderblom.
Yeah.
And Elmer is Soderblom. It's a big war within the family.
Thanksgiving is really
tonight's
awkward.
goalie is currently leading the poll.
All right, get those votes in if you haven't yet right there on the YouTube page.
This could be
you got my vote.
This could be the one and only time Arvid Soderblom
It
is
might
our
be
4-star of the year. Take that, Twitter haters.
All right, let's get to Kevin Korchinski because very polarizing in the chat. I thought he played well. Then we checked our friends at the blue line, and he was the worst player on the ice.
That's why we got rid of the blue lines. I don't.
But here's the thing: in fairness to Kevin Korchinski, he played 24:08. Mario hit refresh.
I'm going by natural stat trick. All right.
Well, they're cheaters.
On natural stat trick.
See, anything under 24:07 and lower is a bad game. 24:08, good game.
Yes. When you have the team playing you, just out possessing you, your possession numbers are going to look bad. I thought he played pretty well. The numbers don't jump off the page, good or bad, but I think he controlled the puck. He was speedy. He was decisive. Those are the things you're looking for from Korchinski right now is puck decisions, foot positioning, foot speed, moving the puck with confidence. I think he played a solid game. Great? No. And I think as we were talking about Nazar, Rockford might be a nice thing for Korchinski, but this Wyatt Kaiser situation, we don't really know what the injury deal is.
He hasn't practiced.
3 practices.
This is not helping his case.
No, it's not.
Right.
You can't win a job by not playing hockey.
And that sucks. I feel awful for Wyatt Kaiser because I do feel like if we were handicapping this thing going in, that he was probably the odds-on favorite to win that job.
I would have said Korchinski.
Yeah, you said 2707 though too, and you were wrong about that.
Okay, 2407.
2707
Get it right.
is ridiculous.
That's Seth
That's
Jones
Seth
territory.
God, that's Seth Jones' number.
Yeah,
Call human resources.
Yeah, no, I think for Korchinski being the defenseman that played the most tonight by a wide margin, TJ Brody was next at. I'm not going to put the number down, but he had the next amount. Natural stat trick just shaved a second off of everybody apparently.
They didn't watch the last second of the game.
Yeah, I think for Korchinski being the guy that was on the ice the most, a situation he probably hasn't been in. I'd have to go through every box score from last year to check, but I don't think he led any game in ice time probably since he was in Seattle. So, being in that situation and what they're, like you said, like what they're looking at for out of him is just kind of growth in that decision making, growth in the confidence with the puck. I feel like what we want to see out of him through preseason is, making quick decisions, making confident decisions. Even if he's making mistakes, at least doing it confidently. Like, there's the old adage is like, you'd rather make a mistake going 100 miles an hour than overthinking and letting everything pass you. So I'd like to see.
Unless you're driving.
Sure. Talking about sports here, Jay. Come on. Yeah, I mean, as long as he's, playing faster, processing faster, I think that's positive for him. And yeah, I mean, there was a period of time in the first half of the second period where they outshot like 11-1 in the first 10 minutes. Like it was,
the ice was tilted.
Yeah, it was rough. So I mean, for all that being said, I think he had a decent enough game. And again, the group was mostly prospects and
he was your number
guys
one
going
defenseman
to AHL. Right, exactly.
Both in ice time and ability.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think for the people in the chat that want the veterans to play more so they could gel, you'll see a lot more veterans tomorrow in St. Louis. Yeah. Like Foligno, Dickinson,
Kurashev.
They haven't played yet, so they're definitely playing.
Yeah, Foligno hasn't played a game yet.
Right. So
mailing it in after his captaincy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when you're captain, you can get to skip the preseason. But like a lot of those guys haven't played yet, so you'll see them. I can't imagine many guys from tonight playing back-to-back nights.
Well, they're going to. Nazar played every game.
They're going to need
the defensive group. Yeah, the defensive group that was in.
Because with Kaiser, Martinez has missed the last 2 practices.
Yeah,
and with Kaiser out, that leaves you with Murphy, Del Mastro,
Jones and Vlasic.
So you'll probably, if Martinez can't play, and at this point, why would you bother? You
probably carry over maybe Crevier and Korchinski
or Phillips.
Yeah.
So and Mikheyev will play tomorrow likely.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 lines right there of NHL guys.
I had the game.
Maybe Reichel plays again tomorrow. Put him out there with Athanasiou and
see him
Kurashev. He had that shot with 8 seconds left to go in the game.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
Got me my half a point.
What was that? I had the non-game.
So yeah, I think you'll see some more of the veterans.
This is this was from yesterday's non-game group practice. They lined up Teravainen, Bedard, Bertuzzi, Hall, Kurashev, Donato. Ryan Donato, though, his wife is expecting their first kid any moment now.
Terrible planning. Taylor Hall in practice today.
Yeah, well,
panic.
Then Foligno, Dickinson, Mikheyev, and then they had Savoie with Athanasiou and Maroon, and then the 4 defensemen.
Yeah, Maroon hasn't played yet either.
Yeah.
And it's St. Louis where he's from, so Maroon will be out there. So you're going to have a
That's a pretty NHL caliber.
You're going to have
lineup.
2/3 NHL guys out there tomorrow. So tomorrow should be better.
And aside,
yes,
Pat Maroon wears the undershirt that all the 80s guys wore.
He's probably worn that his entire career.
The sky blue with the navy blue neck.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I'm sure he's had that his entire career.
I always remember old pictures of Gretzky in that and Yzerman's in that. Roenick wore that. I saw him and I'm like,
I have never been a Pat Maroon fan just because you go back to the 2015 Western Conference Final when Kaner was chirping him.
Yeah.
You're going to be late for your rollerball championships or whatever.
What a dick.
And then just when you're Maroon is one of those guys when you're playing against him, you don't like him because, he's a big physical guy. He likes to run his mouth. But, man, it's taken me all of, one day of training camp to be like, that's my new favorite player. Just because,
he is a large human.
Very big man, but, fun and easygoing in the locker room. He's joking around. He's telling stories. He's very personable. I'm a big fan. I want him to stay here forever.
I want to ask him about the shirt
until he's back.
I just want to get one of those to wear on set.
I'm sending pictures to Law. There's one of him in Boston.
There's
one of him in Edmonton.
The same one. Not the same style.
I think it's the same shirt.
It doesn't look like Bedard's, which we noticed the other day for the first time.
I bet it's the same shirt.
Bedard's compression short. I think he's had them since he was 6.
So for 3 years.
They're tattered. Anyway, let's do. I guess we got to do this. We got to talk about Lucas Reichel, who is just
take long.
A complete non-factor. Just a
Guys,
complete non-factor.
I'm starting to not care.
I don't care either.
He was in mid-season form. 18-23 of ice time, 1 shot on goal. That's it. And it took him 59 minutes and 30 seconds to get that shot.
I just don't get it.
Far be it to give up on a guy, but
prove us wrong.
He's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out.
How do you have your first opportunity in the preseason after the crap ass season you had last year, and the Hawks betting you saying, "Hey man, we're giving you $1 million,
2 years,"
and that's generous.
A 2-year deal.
So come in here and prove us wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the effort you put forth when you're one of the most skilled offensive players, allegedly, on the team. You have 1 effing shot.
He's not waiver exempt anymore, but he's fighting for a spot on this team. And honestly,
but he's not fighting.
I know he's young. Well, sure. Yeah. He is supposedly in a battle for a roster spot. I know he's not waiver exempt, and he's young, and there's maybe some untapped potential still in there. But if he's sent down to the Ice Hogs, we were kind of talking about it during the game, someone would pick him up. I mean, is our teams chomping at the bit to get guys that can't make the Blackhawks? I don't know. And he's a first round pick. He's been given a lot of opportunity. We've seen him play well in the AHL. It just hasn't translated. We keep holding on to that one short period of time in his first NHL season where he had a 12-game stint that looked really good, and we keep holding on to that and thinking that he's going to be that guy, but we've had 80 other NHL games to see him play where he has not been that player. And I'm starting to I think as time has gone on, and you see, you bring in Bedard and you see the guys coming up. We have a lot of hope for Nazar and Oliver Moore and the forwards group coming up. I think with those additions, I'm starting to just be like, if Lucas Reichel doesn't figure it out, it may not matter. And it sucks because it's a first round pick, and it's a young guy that you had a lot of hope for. But if he's not figuring it out, I think I personally am getting to a point where I'm just like, all right, next up.
Yeah.
Next up. Someone produce.
I don't know. I'm done worrying about it. You know what I mean? If it's fine, if he somehow puts it together this preseason, makes the team, maybe he doesn't, and he makes the team anyway because of the waiver situation, and he figures it out and starts playing well, great.
Yeah,
it's gravy, but I'm done obsessing over it.
Yeah, that's the best outcome. Yeah.
And I know he's young, and I know whatever, but he's been, as we've talked about, Rockford's good for players. Well, he's had plenty of time in Rockford to figure things out. And if I see him go up the boards again and then peel off and then pass it to no one or have the puck easily knocked off of him, I'm going to throw up. It happens several times a game.
Too often.
He's got the puck with speed. The rare occasions he actually has the puck, turns it along on the boards, looks to center it, pass gets intercepted, and that's the end of the shift. It happens every single game. Every single game with him. That's a guy who needs to control the puck, weave in and out of traffic, control it along the boards, distribute. He is knocked off the puck easily. When he has it, most of the time he doesn't have it.
I feel like he hasn't improved since that first taste of the NHL. And maybe this is just the player he is. I don't know.
It's starting to feel that way because we've seen a lot more of that than that 12-game span that got us all excited.
Yeah, the guy who controls the play.
So which one is the real Lucas Reichel? Unfortunately, it's starting to look like we know the answer to that. Now, I'm not going to make a declaration after one preseason game that
make a declaration.
He's done.
Do it.
That's our chat's job.
Make a declaration. It's fun.
But I'm definitely not like rah anymore. It's like, dude, you've had your time. Let's prove it.
It's time.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to listen. Lucas Reichel hitting his potential would be great for this team, but
it makes them better if he does.
Absolutely, and he needs to play. To me, he needs to play the rest of these preseason games and give them something. I don't want him making this team just because he's waiver exempt. Like, if they lose him for nothing, they lose him for nothing. What are you going to do? It's not great, but there are teams that would take him. I know people would think, oh my God, he stinks. Who would take him? But it's still a very young player with, not barely a full season of NHL experience, a first round talent. You see that there's talent there, but he just can't bring it. There's always a general manager and a coach that thinks I'm the guy that's going to unlock that talent. For hell, we had one of those guys here for years. Yeah. Loved busted first round picks, Alex Nylander, and the list goes on and on of all those reclamation projects. There's tons of guys out there that would do it.
Henrik Borgstrom.
Columbus needs to add a couple $1 million just to hit the floor. So they'd pick up anybody off of waivers just to get there because they weren't smart. They didn't do the Kyle Davidson overpay for James Van Riemsdyk just to get there.
Game on the line right now. Game on the line tomorrow. Alex Nylander or Lucas Reichel's in your lineup?
I'm not even showing up.
Oh God!
So
here's my thing. If I'm Kyle Davidson, what I'm doing right now is I'm calling around the league and finding some other team's Lucas Reichel, someone that just needs a change of scenery, needs an opportunity, needs a new set of eyes on him, and saying, "Hey,
Alex Turcotte."
It has to be Alex Turcotte.
People have been sliding my DMs for years telling me that Alex Turcotte's coming to
from Chicago. He's got
any moment now.
He wants to play for his hometown team.
He's from
Christian
Chicago.
Dvorak.
Christian Dvorak. But
JT Comfer.
They're all from Chicago.
It's just
yeah.
I don't know. It is very hard for me to imagine they waive him and just risk losing him.
There you go. Trade him for Alex Nylander. Bring Alex Nylander back.
Well, he's only on an AHL contract.
So what?
So Lucas Reichel's going to be too.
I mean, does it feel like what probably Arizona felt with Dylan Strome when he eventually got traded to Chicago?
Yeah, maybe.
That was
we got to figure something out.
That's first round pick that was back and forth, and I remember when he got here, we were just like, this guy can't even do it with Arizona, but he ended up having some success. Obviously, playing with Patrick Kane helps, but I don't know. I just feel like if there is more to his game, he's got to show it. And if 99 NHL games isn't enough to show it by 21, 22 years old, he got a ton of opportunity last year. Played him top line, second line, third line, played him with Bedard, played him on the power play. Like, and it just didn't click. I don't know. He's got a short leash to prove that he can be a NHL contributor on this lineup that is now more competitive to make.
Yeah, and we're hearing is always trading for Nick Robertson. They can't take on Reichel makes more money than Robertson, right? So the Leafs can't take on this salary.
I think they could barely fit him, but it was because
trade him for Jake McCabe.
Who are they trying to sign? Toronto. Who's the defenseman that they're rumored to sign?
Geez.
It doesn't matter.
If
they were going to sign him, there was no way they could do that.
Hakanpää.
Yes.
And they did sign him.
They did.
Yeah.
So now I don't think they could bring him on, but
well, the other thing too is if a team's going to trade for Lucas Reichel, they're also they know he's waiver exempt too. So they're not going to give up an asset, whether it's an asset that needs to change the scenery or not, for a guy they're probably going to have to send down anyway, and then lose anyway.
If you're Kyle Davidson and you start making phone calls, that information is going to get around to the other GMs and say he's trying to trade him. He's probably going to waive him. You might hedge your bet and just pick him up for free.
I play him every preseason game, give him every chance to turn around what happened today, turn around what happened last season, and then when cut down time comes, you look at him and you say, you played 5 games, you had 1 shot on goal, you know what I mean? 1 shot on goal per game.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not enough. It's just not good enough. And how can we possibly keep you here?
My thing with him is, man, if he couldn't make it happen last year when it was like, especially when Bedard was out, it was like that was the chance for him to be like, okay, this is who I am. I'm the star player. And it just never was there. So I'm not throwing dirt on his grave just yet, but I definitely have the hole dug.
All right, a couple super chats you want to hit real quick here. One from Thomas says, Mario, your comment on the Kaprizov interested in going to Chicago has Wild fans freaked out, and I'm here for it.
That wasn't Mario.
That was
Laz.
Mark Lazarus.
You're getting confused for Laz.
Oh, Mario Laz.
I mean, I commented on it, but it was a joke at Laz. I didn't say anything.
Wow.
What did I do?
Nothing.
Did I do something?
You made Wild fans freak out, which is not very hard.
No, it's not hard.
I'm sorry to the Wild fan.
Yeah.
And then a $2 super chat from Aiden. Where exactly do you see the blue line scores? That is at hockeystatcards.com. That is the website.
And they're no longer blue. They're purple and other shades. But they were blue for a very long time.
Hockeystatcards.com. And you can actually sign up, and they will, at the end of every Hawks game, they will email you the blue lines or the purple lines or whatever they are. So there's that. I saw that they sent Luke and or Frank Nazar.
It's both. It's about a minute of Nazar, a minute of Luke. They're together. We could play it together if you'd like.
Yeah, why don't we do that? And then then we'll wrap up the show with 4-star of the game winner. We'll reveal the winner, Who's Your Hawk, and we'll look forward to tomorrow. Here's Frank Nazar.
I thought we fought hard. Made a good little push there at the end. Just obviously couldn't find the back of the net. But I thought after the first, we started to get back into it and kind of push back and get some good opportunities.
Your thoughts on the experience of playing for the first time here and, in the Joe, not the Joe, at the ALLCITY?
No, it's awesome. I mean, even when we landed at the airport, it just feels like home, and being able to do it in front of 90-plus family members is really awesome. It sucks we weren't able to get the win, but it's good to show out for them.
I thought we skated really well in the first period and, looked like the team that had a little bit more to push for tonight. And unfortunately, we didn't get on the inside too much, but I thought we had the play controlled really well in their offensive zone. And then in the second period, I think they turned it on a little bit on us. And unfortunately, a couple long shifts in the D zone created some penalties against us and gave them that 5-on-3, which kind of changed the game around, I thought. But I thought we pushed right to the end, and I liked even our 6-on-5 at the end. Our guys created some chances. Unfortunately, Lyon played well, and we just couldn't get on the inside enough.
Soderblom's first time in game action this year, and he made a couple big saves, made one on Lombardi on the breakaway. Just overall thoughts on his play?
Yeah, no, he was solid. I think, unfortunately, we gave him that 5-on-3. He had no chance on a Tarasenko is a heavy shooter. And other than that, I think he was really solid. He was simple playing the puck, and he made some big, solid stops, not a lot of rebounds. So that was a good outing for Sody.
Is there anyone that stood out to you tonight?
I like Spellacy again. 2 games in a row for a young guy. He skates well. He's not afraid to play physical. And I thought both Nick Lardis and Frank Nazar had a much better game, and obviously their second game feeling it a little bit more comfortable. But it's tough playing in the NHL, so it's still a lot of strides for these young guys. But I think we're getting there, and it looks like we got some really good young prospects coming.
Find someone who loves you as much as Luke loves AJ Spellisy.
No, you can't love AJ Spellisy. You have to be objective and patient.
Luke is just setting himself up for disappointment.
Yeah,
that's what I was told.
100%. All right. Well, it's not a surprise. We talked about it earlier in the show, but we've got our 4th star of the game. By the way, thank you to the Chicago Blackhawks for use of their post-game video.
Credit to them.
Good stuff.
Big of them.
4th star of the game goes to Arvid Soderblom.
Huzzah!
Just as we all predicted.
Yes.
Stopped 29 of 31 Red Wing shots. He was very solid. Probably the best Hawk on the ice tonight, which isn't saying a ton.
The Vezina campaign.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Shout out to the White Sox fan that is in our chat. No White Sox pod tonight.
Hey, I asked Sean. I said, "Do you want to do an emergency pod?" History only happens.
I mean, he was wearing a suit
once.
all week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think he would have?
Yeah.
Have you even noticed that I put that on the set, Jay?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good job.
I'm surprised it's not a middle finger.
It could be. It should be.
Yeah. History we witnessed.
You know what's funny?
Tonight.
If we want to do a little bit of a Sox aside on here.
History! with 3 non-Sox fans.
Yes, I am a Southside Cub fan. And every year, all the cousins and uncles like to say, "Oh, Cubs suck," and it's all smack talk in the group chat. And now all of a sudden that the Sox are terrible, we're not allowed to talk about it anymore. Like, oh, you can't pick on the Sox this year. They're too terrible. That's the point. You're the worst team in the history of the sport. I win forever. Shut up.
It might even be worse next year.
They're going to be worse next year.
Somehow it's going to be worse
because Garrett Crochet is going somewhere. Because God forbid you keep someone good.
He's going to go knit a sweater somewhere else.
All right.
I mean,
sorry, that was my aside.
As we were saying during both games as they were happening simultaneously, big night for Detroit. I've seen this movie before with the White Sox. Literally, I've seen the movie. It's called Major League.
Yeah.
I don't know if
except they didn't rally and win the pennant.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to rally and win the pennant, but
I think they've been on
the problem was every win they had, a piece of Jerry Reinsdorf's clothes came off.
That explains
and they were
it.
like, "F this."
Screwed that up.
I don't want to see any more.
They screwed that up.
Yeah. Man.
See, yeah, Merrick, Cubs still blow. So you don't get to say that. You're a fan of the worst team in the history of the oldest sport in the world. Aside from like gladiators and Greco-Roman wrestling.
They would have lost that too.
The worst team since 1900. You don't get to say anyone blows unless you're talking about the White Sox.
Next season is their 125th in existence.
What a celebration next year is going to be for the White Sox.
Maybe they can lose 125 for their 120.
Oh, see, that would be nice.
That'd be nice.
That would be fun. All right, that's enough White Sox
make more history.
Yeah, we waste enough airtime.
But don't boo the team.
You
can't boo them for being this bad. Don't boo them.
I was saying boo earns.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the Who's Your Hawk winner and then go home.
Who won?
Who's your Hawk? Let's see. So let's first of all look at the graphic here and see if we look
at the graphic.
The way it looks here, the way with the
stats
stats here. We've got the game total and then the season total. Is that what we want to go with? Because we're talking about points now.
You want to put them on the same graphic?
Yeah, why not? I think that makes sense.
I don't know, man. It's like I don't know how many graphics you want me to make for a fucking post.
I want you to make
17 of them.
New organic graphic every post game show.
No, that works for me.
No, that works. The game score on the left is for the game, and then on the right is the running season total.
So Mario had the most points.
Craig Smith.
Craig Smith with his 3 shots and 2 blocks, I believe it was. Lucas Reichel,
the worst player on the ice for either team.
He still picked up a
got a half a point.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Korchinski, 0 points. Jay, -1 through 2 games.
That's tough.
I'm going to say this because it's probably happening again. I do believe I won preseason Who's Your Hawk last year, and then the game started to count for real, and it wasn't as good. So I kind of want a couple negative games here to get me out of first place.
You got to start picking smartly.
I picked pretty smart last Wednesday night. I had the guy.
Yeah.
Well, you guys both passed on Connor Bedard. He was there for me at 3. So
I didn't even really think we had an order. I think we just
you guys
we just started to say names.
There was an order, but you guys both screamed out names. I was like, fine, I guess I'll take
asked,
Connor
do I have
Bedard.
first pick?
No.
Oh yeah,
We'll figure it out by the time we're in Utah.
Oh, in Utah, yeah, we get to go there. Anyone care about the Pat Maroon?
let's show let's show the youngins.
So this is Pat Maroon in Boston, and you see the two-tone blue shirt. There he is in Edmonton.
Jesus, I forgot he played.
The time he was in Edmonton, and there he is in St. Louis.
Yeah, it looks miserable in St. Louis.
Yeah,
you can't blame him.
Least happy is in St. Louis.
I gotta say, I think that's the exact same shirt.
How many he's got? He's probably got a bunch of them.
No, it's just one.
No, I think it's one.
Oh, come on. It's
one,
a hockey player.
that's one
It's his lucky shirt.
It's
But I got
one
there's
jockey
there's
thermal.
no rips on it. There's no like.
He sends it to the tailor.
He keeps it. Yeah,
I'm gonna ask
he probably
him.
gets it stitched.
I'm gonna ask him
like the jerseys.
because I want one of those shirts just for fun,
Ask
just to
him.
wear on the
Yeah.
show.
You guys wear the same size. He's probably got one for you.
He might actually. He's not fat, but he's just
he's
a bigger
big.
dude than me. I bet he wears a bigger shirt than I do,
Big guy.
simply for length.
That maroon undershirt.
You were talking about like Gretzky wearing those. To me, it always I'm remembering like the goons that would have their jerseys pulled over their heads and they'd be wearing those.
Tydomi.
Like
A lot of those guys would be
McSorley.
wearing nothing underneath.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like McSorley did. No, am I making that up?
Yeah, he wore one.
Probert?
Probert wore like rock and roll T-shirts or like Red Wings themed T-shirts all the time. If anything, a lot of those goons would just go
Rob Ray.
bare skin underneath the pads, and the pads were basically like
Hell yeah.
maxi pads taped to their elbows just because they were required to wear something. They just like to have those sharpened elbows all the time.
Oh yeah, hey, look at that.
It's the same shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gretzky.
It's the same shirt. Check
That
it
was
out,
like-
everybody.
that's what-
Whoa.
looks like
People were,
pajamas.
that was like the big thing in the 80s and 90s.
It's a
was that
picture
shirt.
of it's a picture of Wayne Gretzky
Wearing
lifting
Pat
the
Maroon's
cup,
shirt.
wearing the same shirt.
I'm trying to think.
Maybe Maroon got the shirt from
He
Gretzky.
wouldn't fit in Gretzky's
He'd
shirt.
be fat guy
Well,
in a
maybe
little
he
coat on that one.
stretched it out. I don't know.
But it's interesting. Like in our this is our third. Well, I guess fourth.
This will be our third full season.
Third full parts of 4.
Yeah.
He's the only guy in the room I've ever seen wearing that.
Yeah, that's all the
old school.
War Road and CCM and all the skin tight stuff. He's the only guy I've ever seen. Him and Ilya Mikheyev have has like PJ pants that he wears. They're very loose fitting.
Bloomers.
But yeah, those are the only two guys that I can think of that have like loose like undergarments under their gear.
That sounds really
interesting.
uncomfortable.
There's
All right,
a whole Reddit thread about Pat Maroon's undershirt, and it goes back to 2015.
All right, so we're not the first.
We're
I'm
not the
asking him
first
if it's just
person,
one
no.
or if he has several. I need to know.
And you also got to let him know that there's a
Definitely.
whole Reddit subreddit devoted to him and his shirt.
That's pretty cool.
He's going to look at you like, what the F is that, man?
Yeah.
Get out of here. Somebody pull this dude's cred. Get him out of here.
All right, we're going to be back doing this tomorrow. We're going to be remote tomorrow night, but Hawks and Blues tomorrow, well, it'll be the same deal. The Hawks are going to stream it on blackhawks.com and on their Hawks app. Again, it will be geo-locked, but there are some people today in our members-only Discord sharing links to unlocked broadcasts somehow. I don't know how it works. Check it out if you want access.
I'm not endorsing it, but there are other ways of watching the game.
If you'd like to try to
can't.
see those links in our members-only Discord, maybe become a diehard
There
at
you go,
allchgo.com. You get a free shirt when you sign up, including you can pick the brand new design, the new Derek. Can I say that?
The
I
new,
believe we just call it the Rose Forever.
Rose
shirt.
Forever shirt.
I don't know who they're
It is a
talking
rose.
about.
There's
Yeah.
literally a photo of him behind me, but
It's,
no one will
it's,
ever figure it out.
It's a paying.
Who could it
tribute-
be?
It's paying tribute to that really good
The number
Bette
one
Midler
Rose.
movie.
Yeah. Every rose has a stone.
You got to narrow it down. She's in a lot of great movies.
The one called The Rose.
Never saw it.
The rose.
Never heard of it.
It's a Guns N' Roses shirt.
I might get
It's-
that.
It's
That's a cool
about
shirt.
it's about Golden Girls. We all love Rose. She's
Oh,
number
it's-
one.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
It's a
Fair enough.
Titanic shirt.
So yeah, pick that up when you become a diehard, or if you just want it anyway and you're already a diehard, store.allcitynetwork.com. We'll have it for you, and as a diehard, you'll save 20%.
The hoodie version is pretty.
Yeah, they're
badass.
sweet. If I buy another hoodie, I'm gonna get divorced. It's not even. But my wife bought like she brought her what do you call it to the it's like the little box that like it says you leave at the end of your bed. You know what I'm talking about? It's
Yeah,
cushioned on the
trunk.
anyway. Yeah, like a trunk. She
Oh,
bought
yeah.
that for my hoodies,
An
and
end
it's
table.
already overflowing. And when I fill it, I have to like sit on it and mash all my
Oh,
hoodies down.
jeez.
I need
I
more
have-
hoodies because Stacy steals all my
Yeah, I
hoodies.
know. I have way too many hoodies, so
This is a new one. Nice.
Give a few to
Yeah.
Stacy so
Yeah,
I
that's
can
a nice
actually
one.
have
All
mine back.
I mean,
color.
it's not all city, so it's not that good, but
That's
Correct.
it's okay.
it's seafoam green though.
All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Hawks and Blues right after the game. Same deal. See you then. Thanks for watching the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.